How you doing, Eric?
Good. How about you?
Good, man. Good. It's good to see you.
You too.
Looking sharp as always.
You know what? Like you said, it's the brand, so I figure I play the suit.
You know what? It certainly plays well into your brand. I've always admired your suits, and whenever I see you show up and stuff, I'm like, man, this guy's got it together. So that's super cool.
In high school, I don't know, just love wearing suits, I guess. I mean, not anymore since COVID, March was like the last time I was on a stage anywhere. It's just crazy. Crazy.
How's it been for you? Has it been, we can jump into I'm recording, so we can jump into a casual conversation. I just thought, if there's some cool clips here we can grab at the beginning, we can do that too. But I just was curious to know, how's the last 8 months been for you guys?
You know what, to be honest, from our side, we've definitely seen a decrease in our referrals. We're a big referral based practice. We don't really do direct to public advertising. So we've seen a decline in our referral business. And I think a lot of that's directly due to the vast majority of dental professionals being off for 3 months or 4 months. So right. Now they're thinking twice before they refer a patient out. But we also have the other end of the spectrum of our big referrals are still sending more than ever. But we're also seeing a lot of the geriatric population. You kind of see two sides of the spectrum. You see patients that are kind of oblivious or ignorant really to the whole thing, and they trust that their healthcare professionals taking the necessary precautions to do what they need to do.
Right.
And then on the other side of it, you have patients that are very fearful and they're not coming in, or, they're being guided by their children or significant others and saying, don't go there, or things aren't safe right now. So I think in the industry, we are definitely seeing some ups and downs and some differentiations between offices and protocols and people coming in and not coming in. So we've definitely seen a decline of the general flow.
Right.
But what's been nice for us, to be honest, I mean, we've always kind of subscribed to the philosophy of the slow dentistry, with McGill Stanley, and, taking your time and making sure that you do things the right way. But I think COVID's allowed us to really do that. Is we're always in a rush, right? Every day of our lives, not just in dentistry, but it's I got to go here, I got to go there, I got to do this, got to get this email. If you don't respond to an email in 10, 15 minutes, people wonder what happened to you.
Yeah. It's been a minute. Where did this guy go?
So I think that the one good thing that come out of COVID is the self-realization that we were all closed for about 3 months or 4 months. No one died. People died of COVID, but in dentistry, none of our patients, went ill or had anything traumatic happen. And sure, people had abscesses, and then there was emergency things like that. But I think it really allowed all of us, to manage, and it allows us to say, do we really need to push that hard? I mean, listen, I'm a workaholic. I work 16, 17 hours a day. I get up 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the first thing I want to do is drive to the office, which I do. But it's allowed me to really say, do I need to see that many patients in a day? Is it necessary to just keep squeezing in the emerge? And, so I think that is, on a personal note, one good thing that I've seen in dentistry as a whole, that it's allowed us to just that self-reflection that we all kind of need to slow down a little bit and, take our time and do what's right.
Well, yeah, you bring up a good point. And for those who are joining us, it's Tyler McClendon on Dentist on Demand, and we are lucky to have with us Mr. Eric D. Kukuchka from the Denture Center in Windsor, Ontario. With where I was going with that, with my take was that the windshield time. So as you know, I work for Henry Schein. I'm a Henry Schein representative. I was on Canada. I kind of cover both sides of things, but for me, with the restrictions being in place, it's a lot harder to see clients face to face. So, the windshield time gets taken out of your schedule, which is, for me, it's tough. It's a double-edged sword because I don't get to see customers. I'm sure you work with Shine, so if you were my customer, Eric, it'd be tough because I'd be like, hey man, I can't see you as regularly as I want to, but we still have a lot of devices that we can communicate over, which is kind of nice. But just to sort of reiterate your point is that the time that I've taken in my office to obviously, create a studio, create some cool, like, I mean, I always had, I mean, this is my friend Michael's studio, but I have one in my office, but which is not nearly as nice as this, just so we're totally clear, is that, but it's also giving me time to reflect and think about, okay, what is important about what I do for a living? Let's dial down, let's be more efficient in what we do from our day to day. So I think you're bang on with that, slowing down, saying, how can I do my job better?
No, absolutely. And even for us, so yes, we do a lot of work with Shine, and we do miss having our reps coming in, and we all miss that personal face-to-face a lot. But yeah, on the note of diversification, during COVID, as an educator, as a speaker, I think I did, we started our own online platform. I think I did 44 or 45 webinars during COVID. Yeah.
How much speaking do you do? Like, that's like, I'm looking at your bio here, Eric, and it is like, I can read the whole thing, but like, we might be here for the whole afternoon. This is impressive. I did pick out some highlights here. Do you want me to touch on a few of these things?
Yeah, sure.
So here we got Eric D. Kukuchka is president and owner of the Denture Center, a network of clinics currently comprised of 3 facilities in southwestern Ontario. Is Windsor your home base?
It is, yeah.
So once prominent sales strategist and advocate for market best practices and a skillful oral health professional dedicated to creating high quality digital removable fixed and fixed detachable implant prosthetic restorations. That's a mouthful. So like you're really kind of a pioneer in this digital denture space, hey?
I mean, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I sometimes I do. Yeah, so I was the first denturist to be beta testing with Ivoclar. So that happened in 2014.
Oh,
so
wow.
it was part of the spider team, as they called it. So it was a strategic kind of background buildup of key opinion leaders, universities, digital masters, and then R&D. And I'll never forget September 2014 when I was showing these slides of the digital denture, and it's milled out of a puck, and I remember driving home from Amherst, New York, and I just called my dad. I said, I just saw the future of our profession.
Right.
I said, and it still gives me goosebumps now. And, fast forward now, 6 years later, the innovations are incredible. And I look back at where we started, how we started milling wax and putting teeth into the milled wax and breaking tools and, a lot of R&D going into this stuff. And, we've done thousands of digital dentures. A lot of different ways. Any way you can make a digital denture, we've probably done it. Getting back to your point about doing a lot of speaking, in 2019, so pre-COVID, yes, yep. I flew 76,000 miles.
Holy smokes.
Tokyo, Germany, Australia, where else? All over. Italy.
Well, it says here, yeah, I was going to continue. Eric regularly contributes to a collaborative research projects and product development and testing initiatives at a global level. Man, oh man. You're married, right?
No.
Married?
I do have a girlfriend that's super supportive, and wow. She lets me work.
She's a keeper, man. That's impressive. That she's I mean, my wife, she would not let me travel that much, but I shouldn't say let. We'd have to work something out. She'd have to come with me, or we'd have to figure that out. So my hat's off to you guys. Most significantly, he is recognized as as an important consultant and key opinion leader by Ivoclar Vivadent, as you just mentioned. Also, 3Shape and Nobel Biocare. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm actually honored and privileged. This year, I was invited to be on the 3Shape advisory board from global headquarters. So that would be a big feather in my cap for sure to be on the advisory board for 3Shape. And work directly with the R&D department with Ivoclar and Liechtenstein. So have at least monthly meetings with some of the colleagues in the R&D. There's a new disc out that's called Ivotion. It's a one-piece monolithic denture disc that has the pink and the white. We're part of the product development of that. So it just launched. I was fortunate to have launched it in Chicago. So I disseminated the product, showed it for the first time. When I lectured at the ACP Digital Symposium in February at the American College of Prosthodontists. So that they were the first to see the innovation on the Monday of the midwinter meeting. And then the formal launch I did at the Lab Day on the Saturday in Chicago. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing revolution. We're working on it for about 2 years with the company, and it's exploding in the market. And yeah, I do weekly R&D meetings with 3Shape as well. So I have a Tuesday and a Thursday calls at 6 a.m. One is with the dental system and the other is with Trios. So I contribute regularly to all this stuff. So it's my life, Tyler. Honestly, it's people say, where do you get all this energy and what gets you out of bed every day? And I actually love what I do. I love every minute of it.
Yeah.
Not always, actually. Sometimes it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
But I love digital. I love, dentistry. I love digital removable. And that's what drives me every day. And to be on the cutting edge and always to be doing new and innovative things and pushing the boundaries of what can we do next? How can we do this? And that's what's nice about, working directly with R&D teams that I do, is because I'm in the field, right? I'm in the trenches all day, every day. And I tell them, like, I need this. I need this. I did this yesterday. Look what happened. Let's work on these scan strategies. How's the AI actually working for fully edentulous scans with the Trios unit? It's working really, really well, but things are always being optimized. And that's what I love about working with these guys, is from both companies, really, they listen, and that's one good thing about, these two companies, is that they want to know from their customer, and, user feedback, super important. I do some of that with Nobel as well, not as entrenched in R&D, but definitely product testing, product development feedback as well. Because we do a lot of all on X, all on 4, all on 6 cases. Obviously a ton of overdentures as well. So yeah, that's kind of that in a nutshell.
Yeah. I mean, I could keep reading here, but man, oh man, this is there's a lot of stuff here. So I sort of want to, where you and I sort of have some similar. Obviously, you're an educator, you're a speaker, you know your craft and your what you're doing, like, inside and out. I like to quote Dana White when he says, "I don't look forward to the weekend. I look forward to Monday." And I have a feeling you're kind of that guy, where you're like, the weekend's cool, but like Monday, I get to try out some new tools. I get to try out a new workflow, some new mill pass. Like, I get you, man, because like for me, like when I came to Shine. I got into dental at the age of 36. Okay. I didn't know what a burr was when I first got into dental. Okay. So here I am, sort of my mid 40s now. I've spent some time, but, and really, like, and Katrina can attest to this, is that I would sit there on the couch till the wee hours, just reading, what's a burr? And then I quickly, like, I went through the traditional lab materials and products and whatnot. And it's not like I got that overnight. That's an evolutionary process. It took me a long time to grasp a lot of the sort of technical stuff on the laboratory side. But one of the areas that really caught my attention was CAD/CAM and what mills were capable of. And that really interested me. So I quickly dove deep into CAD/CAM. I think I sold my first VHF mill, I think in 2014 as well. For me to ask my client, one of my clients, Stanley, he's a great friend of mine. And I said, do you want to go on this CAD/CAM journey with me? And I said, I haven't been in dental long, but I think that this CAD/CAM thing is here to stay. And if you don't go digital now, my concern, and I'm not saying this as a salesman, I'm saying this is that if you don't make the leap to some form of digital technology now, it might pass you by. So we took that leap. We bought a VHF mill, or he did. I had nothing to do with it. He bought it for me. And we embarked on that digital journey. So when you talk about breaking tools, you talk about, making sure strategies are working and all that stuff, though I didn't live it, there are times when I was in the lab with Stanley, going, okay, well, I don't know. Is it the X-axis? Is it the Y-axis? I don't know what's wrong with this thing, man. Like, can we get tech support on the phone? They're in Germany. Okay. They're in bed. We're awake. Like, there's so much of that R&D stuff that you actually have to go through in your lab. And VHF, I will say, little plug for them. I mean, they make amazing mills.
They do make a nice mill. Actually, the initial Ivoclar Beeline mills.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I know you guys are Ivoclar. You guys have the PM7, which is like blowing up all over the place. Like, I'm seeing these things all over Western Canada. But like at that time, that process of the getting from one step to the next and then watching the machine do what you want it to, that must have been really gratifying when you're like, okay, we're actually making some prosthetics with this unit that actually fit better than before.
It's, to your comments of, in 14, it's like, this is the future. And, you have to take it with a full on initiative to know that this is the future, and we can't deny it or ignore it, right?
Right.
And it's not just, and I think people forget that there's always going to be a human element in one shape or form. A human still has to physically build that machine and tell that machine what to do and how to do it, right? No different than designing a digital denture. The human element of my brain is, telling it where to set the teeth, putting anatomical landmarks, those types of things. I think when we talk about digital, again, let's just look at sterility. So I think in digital dentistry, intraoral scanning is imperative. I don't think there's a place for PVS.
Is that right?
I unfortunately, I think that even yesterday, we just scanned a patient to do a one-tooth flipper, right? And, so let's look at multiple factors. Number one, most patients' preamble or the prerequisite requirements before they sit in your chair is to tell you that they're a gagger. I think almost every patient will sit down and say, just so you know, I'm a gagger. Yeah, I've heard.
I'm going to pre-warn you, so put something up.
So how do we eliminate fear, right? False evidence appearing real. They feel already, before it even happens, false evidence, because most patients, they think they're gaggers, but they're not. But how do we eliminate that fear like this? Well, let's do an intraoral scan. Wow. And you do that, and the patient's blown away. They can't believe that you didn't have to stick all that stuff in their mouth. So now you've already gained this patient's trust. You've wowed them with the technology. Let's go further. We can show a patient, and again, I don't practice general dentistry, but just on that same note, we can show the patient an abscess or some decay and tell them that they have calculus buildup and maybe take a picture. I can't tell you of how many times when I have the Trios Move screen in front of the patient and they see how dark their teeth are, the amount of plaque, calculus, you show them the parafunctional activity, creating the bruxism and the wearing down of the teeth. And when they see that, right, seeing is believing. I can't tell you how many people go, oh my God, wow, my teeth look like that.
Yeah.
They're that worn down. They're that yellow, right? Let's talk about sterility. Well, now, instead of taking a PVS, disinfecting, having the assistant put that in a box, write a lab script, wait for the lab to pick it up, drop it off, up, all the unnecessary steps. Scan, send it through. If you're using 3Shape Communicate, or any other Prime Scan, whatever, sending it through a digital portal, right? And then receiving a crown back.
Yeah. How many steps are you eliminating? Like, it's so much more efficient. Yeah.
Shipping, you're taking all of the factors, process of elimination with dimensional stability change. And yeah, I think that, and the sterility, again, if nothing's leaving that operatory, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And I think that patients do value that. Patients value technology. Sure, you'll get the odd one that says, oh, am I paying for this? And that's okay. Those people will say that anywhere that they go, whether it's Walmart or Zehrs or anywhere. They feel that, yes, with this one crown, you're paying for my child's education. Yes.
And it's funny because I have friends of mine who, I remember a couple of years ago, one of my friends from high school, we were at a social gathering, and he sat down and he said, hey, Tyler, you're in dental. Have you seen these digital scanner things that they do impressions with? And I said, yeah, Kel, I sell them. And he's like, okay, so if you sell these things, why are you not screaming from the mountaintops that these things exist? Like, every dentist should have, number one, have one of these, and denturists, for that matter. And number two, why are they not telling all their patients that they have this device, this wand that they can wave through their teeth instead of having an impression done? And I was like, well, I know it's still, relatively early technology. That was, again, probably for 2014. It's not really, because the SARC's been around for 25 years. However, now it's becoming mainstream. Here I am talking to someone who is, third party to dental, not in dental in any way, shape, or form, saying this, everybody should have this. This is a game changer. So,
well, just to go to that, and Mikhail Stanley talks about this a lot too, is that the public's misinformed about dentistry, right? Where is there advertisements on TV outside of Crest White strips about dentistry, right? Yeah. It's not. It's hidden from the public. unfortunately, right? So it's unfortunate, but yeah, the patient experience, you're taking it to another level with digital technology. And even if it's not an iOS scanner, even if you're still utilizing a digital lab, a digital savvy lab that's making the crowns, digitally using 3Shape and still scanning those impressions on a lab scanner, because lab scanners have a lot of merit. We have a few of them here, especially for full arch implant cases. Because right now, still one of the main issues with the iOS scanning and full arch implant cases is the true global accuracy and the cross arch stabilization of that scan. To be able to do that with scan flags for, let's just say, a full arch zirconia restoration, or even a milled titanium bar. So, that's still in the works. It's in validation. But so there's still a place for lab scanners and, those types of hybrid workflow, conventional and digital workflows, right? But just to close on that note is that it is impressive to a patient. And if patients they are so technically savvy, and I think we forget that. We're ignorant to that often, and even myself to blame for that. But I can't tell you how many of my patients that are 70, 80 years old that have Facebook or an iPad, so do you want to watch a TV? No, I have my iPad. I'm going to go on Facebook, right? So these patients are digitally savvy. They want to have that type of, technology because it's in the industry. Could you imagine right now writing me a hand letter and sending it to me in the mail?
Well, yeah, even now, like with Dentist on Demand and what we're doing, I mean, we're working with a company called FormStack to help digitize our clients' intake forms. So now a patient just walks through the door, clicks the QR code, the intake form shows up on their phone, and they can literally fill it out on their iPad or their phone, push submit, and it goes right to the front desk. Again, just like a scan, right? It goes boom, no paper, no pencils, nothing in your hand. It's all on your phone. Goes right to the front desk. It's all HIPAA compliant. And you give it to someone, you give it to a patient. Again, I gave it to my mom. I'm like, Mom, try this. And she's like, okay, it's super easy to use. Okay, I get it. Took me 30 seconds, right? So that technology is so intuitive and easy to use, and it's secure, and people can pick it up like that. Okay, I got a couple questions for you, Eric. I'm gonna run through our lightning round. I want to be mindful of your time. I know you're a super busy guy, so if you have a few minutes, I'm gonna run you through a couple. Okay, so as you know, I have a number of denturists that I work with in Western Canada here. A lot of them are great friends of mine, and the first question is, what should a denturist consider first before going into digital? What's the first thing they should consider before taking that leap into the digital space?
So number one, I always say, is actually start with a budget in mind, and knowing your numbers is really important. So if that budget's 30, 40, whatever the number is, you need to know and understand how you're going to get a return on that investment financially.
Okay.
So know that, okay, if your budget's X, okay, what can you afford with X? Is it just a scanner, or is it a scanner and a printer? My first recommendation to anybody that's even considering getting into digital is to actually contact someone, a lab, and do a case.
Okay.
Learn and understand the process and the whole overall experience of before you buy it, right?
Yeah.
Do you like this material? Do you like the way it worked? Work with someone that's going to, kind of go over on TeamViewer with you. Try it before you buy it, type of thing, right? And I think that's a good way. You guys do that. You used to, at least, right? In-office demos, and you go in, bring a 3Shape or a prime scan, do a crown with the doc, and then he inserts, like, wow, amazing. Well, what better way to do try before you buy? And we actually offer that. We call it the Digital Denture Adventure. So we actually, so we do. We have quite a few denturists that reach out to us and say, hey, Eric, like, I'd love to try this. Can I just send you my 2 models and the waxed rim, and you can do a 3D printed try-in? And so we actually do offer that service through the Denture Center.
Take it for a test. What'd you say? What was it called again?
The Digital Denture Adventure.
Digital Denture Adventure. That is brilliant. I love that.
And I think, because that was my experience, right? When I first started, that's what I was doing, sending these models to R&D and getting something back. And I remember being, wow, like this is so cool.
The game changer. And it's interesting because I did a podcast with again Stanley from Crown Dental Studio here in Vancouver, and he told this great little story about how I didn't order his printer resin in time, which is a bit of a tale. But we tease each other to no end. But the reason I bring it up is because he was forced into a situation where he had to have the dentist send him a digital file, and then he had to mill it and then take it back to the dentist's office, and they had to seat it. And he was scared. He was very nervous about that crown not fitting. And he literally said that the dentist went pop, clicked it in, and said, I'm not even sure if I need cement for this one, for this crown. So it's that leap of faith where he was like, I'm not sure about doing this completely digitally. And then when he did it completely digitally, he was like, wait a minute, this works even better than when I verified it on a model, you know? So, and again, just seeing him tell us that story, his eyes light up, and it's just such a fun story to tell. Okay. Number 2, overview of the digital denture process. I mean, I know there's a lot of moving parts to this, but, scan, would it be a similar process to crown and bridge? Like, is it you scan, you design, and you fabricate? Are there more pieces to that process?
Yeah, you definitely can do that. So the first statement I always like to make is you actually have to change nothing in your current clinical workflow if you want to do digital dentures. So if you're an old school guy that says, I'm not changing anything, but just make me a milled denture in the end, or print it if you're going that route, you don't have to change anything clinically. But what you can do now with this technology, sure, is if for immediates, we pretty much exclusively use iOS scanning for all of our immediate dentures. So yeah, or you could do a scan, then you send that file directly to your 3Shape software, you design immediate denture, and then send it to manufacturing. So we call that scan, design, deliver, SDD. So you can do it that way. You could take physical impressions, scan those with a scanner, chairside or a lab scanner, design a custom tray digitally, 3D print the custom tray, take a final impression, render that. So you could do it so many different ways in the workflow. Again, you could scan stone models with the bite rims. You can take wash impressions in the bite rims. You can do one of my favorite workflows, which is a reference denture, which is where you take a wash impression inside the patient's existing denture and take their bite. You can do that with iOS scanning or with a lab scanner as well. So there's so many different workflow options. I have an online learning platform that's called learn.thedenturecenter.ca. And we have a ton of online education in there. It's all 4K recorded videos of clinical process, technical process. There's a ton of webinars on there for free to learn more about digital. So anybody that's out there listening that's interested in just seeing what digital is all about, if they check out our platform, they can learn a ton. And we do one webinar a month still, because we get about 350 register and about 170, 180 show up, which is pretty decent for a webinar.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, once a month. Our next one is January 14th at 2:00. But yeah, that's really, to answer the question, is there's so many different ways to do it, and you're not limited. You're not in a closed workflow, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's just nice to know that you can go in so many different directions in that once you get into that digital space. So you can just say, you know what, today I just need to print off a bunch of custom trays over the next couple hours and get ahead of the game for Monday, right? Or whatever you decide you got to do. I mean, it's just the ability to map out your workflow ahead of time once you've converted to digital. To me, that's always been really appealing.
100%.
Talk about the learning curve of adopting a digital workflow. Is it like, so when you see, I mean, you're an exception. I mean, you kind of dove in, toes and head and everything first, but like the learning process in the digital world for Denturus, is it like, can you talk a little bit about how that goes?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite topics because, I mean, your knowledge and understanding of removable is where you will excel in digital removal, because you know what you want the computer to do and how it should look, right? You can, in your own mind, visualize that. But what you have to not, misunderstand or negate is that you're going back to school.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily know how to use that mouse, how to use the quick commands, how to rotate that virtual model. All those important aspects of what you do with your own hands, you now have to transverse that to a keyboard and a mouse.
Right.
And what happens too often is that people don't practice enough, and they expect that the software should just set everything, draw all the splines, and everything just comes out perfect. I can tell you that there is always error messages. There's always bugs. There's always software glitches. I'm still always learning something every time I do a case. Oh, wow, this. Oh, wow, that. Look how I did this. Look how I had to morph this tooth, and so on and so forth. So what I would say to anyone out there, and, you know, a little bit selfishly, is go on our platform and watch some of our, you know, my digital denture, shape digital denture design module is 2.5 hours.
Holy smokes.
And I can do a design in 20 minutes, but I go 2.5 hours and I deep dive and show the user every single thing to look at, what to know, why I do what I do, how I do what I do. Because I was fortunate to have training from digital masters and people in R&D that, you know, I was lucky to have that. Now, it gave a lot of my life to this, but when you're just starting out, it's like you're going back to school. And we all remember our first 10 setups. You're not good until you do 100.
Well, that's
right?
that's what I find is that, like, you know, because when you come out of denture school, like, aren't you required to make a certain amount of dentures? I mean, you have to, it's like flying a plane, right? You have to put in a certain amount of hours before you're proficient at your craft. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you say, you know, you can't expect to be proficient at making dentures digitally until you've put in the cockpit time.
You have to. You can't give up on it. You can't get frustrated. You have to just push and treat it like you're relearning, right?
Right.
And it's a tool, and train people on your team as well. But you have to practice. You have to practice. I mean,
Great.
we do one-on-one trainings virtually. We have clients in 5 countries. We just finished right before we got on with you today, client out in British Columbia. So one of my team members, George, who's our director of CAD-CAM, was training their CAD-CAM guy on the PM7, and then I was doing an intraoral scan design for an immediate denture with the denturist, and doing that all virtual, and, you know, in an hour teaching them 10 different things, you know. So there's always something to be learned, and we got to learn from each other. That's the nice thing about digital is, you know, in conventional you'd have to go to a hands-on course to go and do it with your hands, you know, setting up denture teeth, and now we can do these trainings virtually. So practice is key.
Sure. I think Nina's messaging me. I think I got to let her know that you're with me.
I have my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I call her a persistent assistant.
She's on it. Holy smokes! You might want to just text her and let her know that we're on. You're talking to me now, so we're good.
All right. What's the next question?
We'll try to keep this short here. I've only got a couple more. So tell me about the applications for digital in the denture space. So I think we kind of already talked about that. Like my sort of sub question was, is it more than just dentures? So you kind of touched on, you know, custom trays, immediates,
Past partial frameworks.
Past partial frameworks. Okay. Tell me, okay, this is a zinger. Printing versus milling. I think I know what your answer is going to be.
It's a great question. I firmly believe that one day, you know, additive manufacturing will supersede subtractive manufacturing. And the first company to figure out how to print teeth and base in one single print, per se, or on the same build plate but simultaneously, will win. But the biocompatibility of that material still has to be the same, if not better, than polymethylmethacrylate, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we know the biocompatibility, the behavior, the repairability, the longevity of true polymethylmethacrylate, right?
Yeah.
So milled PMMA. We also know the behavior of that material. We know we can repair it. But here's the thing, is that on a personal note, the 3D printing workflows require a lot of manual labor. And in my humble opinion, it's still a very analog, labor-intensive process. So let's just take the workflow where we print a base and we fuse carded teeth. Okay, so we do the print, then we do the post-processing, which is multiple baths of isopropyl in a very toxic environment, even with the vent hood. And then we have to clean it, then we have to cure it, then we have to put the bonding agent on, then we have to treat the teeth, then we have to individually bond all the teeth together and wipe off all the excess bond material, and then cure all that, right? Well, with milling, depending on your system, let's just talk about the flagship Ivotion, that's one disc coming out of the machine, trim, polish, done.
Right.
Send a file to mill mills that at one puck, done. That's a digital workflow. If you do oversized milling, which mills the base, mills the teeth, oversized so they're larger, you fuse that together, that goes back in the machine does the rest of the work.
Right.
Even if you're using a roll-in mill, you can't do the oversized, but you could do the one-to-one, so mill the base, mill the teeth, bond that together. You clean everything off around the teeth. I mean, it's still somewhat labor intensive, but it's still a nice workflow. You don't have to do all the post-processing and curing and those types of things. So, I think there's a place for it. I know a lot of people are doing it for immediate transitional dentures, and I think that's okay. There's an application for that as long as the material is Health Canada approved.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, we're keeping it milled. We have 2 PM7s. We love the workflow. It's so efficient. And that's what works well for us. And it has for many, many, many years. And I don't have issues with plaque accumulation or fractures and those types of things, but really in the sense of the clean digital workflow environment with eliminating all the human elements of error that can come in. And the biocompatibility is really important.
Yeah.
But there are some impressive resins out there. So I'm not besmirching, additive manufacturing by any means, because even the carbon lucitone material with the 4D polymer that's come out, that has incredible statistics scientifically with the material sciences in it. So those out there listening, I am not besmirching additive manufacturing. We do it a lot. We just got the new Ivoclar Proga print. We have a NextDent. We got the NextDent 5100, which you guys sell with Shine. We have an Asiga. So yeah, we do love the technology by all means. So.
That's great, because you're really touching on all the big players in this space right now, and it's nice to see that you're experimenting with all of them or working with all of them to make sure that you're getting a well-rounded opinion or a well-rounded take on what works. Because like you say, there is no one solution. It's really kind of what works for you and what workflow you like or whatever you adopted at the time. My next question was design softwares you prefer. I mean, let's face it, 3Shape, it's hard to beat, right? So, like as a reseller of 3Shape myself, obviously I'm waving the 3Shape flag as well, but there's R&D that goes into 3Shape that is unlike any other software. Am I correct?
100%. And I think that the nice thing with respect to 3Shape in a biased manner is they do create it as a system, right? So, but not just with Ivoclar, right? Just take the Ivoclar, tattoo off of me for a second. Is they work very closely with a lot of they worked with Dentsply to develop the workflow for the carbon lucitone print with the special support bars on the printed base. They're working with NextDent, right, to develop their printed material. So it's a very close relationship that they have with so many manufacturers, and that's what you say on the R&D side. But the clinical data that they are also using in order to transverse into the dental system or the technical side, right? It's imperative, right? So you now have a design software that also has a clinical software. So you have a system, an ecosystem, right, of manufacturing capability, lab capability, scanning capability from intraoral to lab scanner, but it's all in the same ecosystem. What happens is when you have, and Sarek does a good job with that as well with the prime scan, right? Because the prime scan, the prime mill, all those types of things too. So there's a lot of that going on out there too. But I think when it comes to digital dentures, there's over 1 million digital dentures that have been designed in 3Shape. So let's think of how much data analytics they have in their ecosystem floating around from those 1 million designs, and how do they use that for AI and to continue to develop their software to be better every single day. That's 650,000 cast partial frames designed last year, 250,000 custom trays, 225,000 digital dentures.
It's a ton.
It's crazy.
And it is a premium software, and the pushback I get sometimes is it can be a pricing thing, and I just say to people, look, like this R&D is not cheap, right? So for years I get some pushback saying there's other softwares that don't charge me yearly fee or whatever that is, and that yearly fee, in my opinion, has got to get paid somehow. No matter what software you use, the developers, the R&D still needs to get paid for somehow. So in my opinion, you're paying that yearly fee somewhere along the way, whether you see it up front, whether you see it on the back end, whether it's built into the price of the machinery. That the research has to get paid for, right?
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes it's what you got to pay to belong to the club. I guess
Yeah.
it's dues. And I think that what, the people, my objection to that is divide that number by how many days a week, or excuse me, how many days a year you're working and using that software. What is it?
Yeah.
Is it $5? Is it $7? Is it $10? And does it make your life easier? Right? Because maybe you go to a third party, but it's not working as well with what your dentists or your clients are using. And then what are those headaches worth? Right?
Mhm.
Know your value. What's an hour of your time worth?
Yeah, absolutely. Patient experience of a digital denture. Uh, I'm assuming a few years ago, it sounds like quite a number of years ago, you were making dentures pre-digital era. So when you see a patient move from a traditionally made denture to a digital one, is there a difference?
Yeah, you definitely see it with so patient experience for sure. So just them. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but removable dentistry is very psychologic, right? I would tell you that 50 to 70% of someone's overall success with a removable prosthesis is psychological. So the patient has a preconceived notion in their mind that what they have in their mouth is, for the most part, they're happy with it. But if you start to change too many things and do too many things differently, the patient automatically is going to say something's not right here. And patients actually associate pain with failure. So even though it may be one small sore spot, automatically they're going to think, oh, this is no good. They failed. It's not right. What I can say statistically, we've reduced our post-operative adjustments with digital by 78%. Now, a lot of those numbers come into immediates, 78%.
Wow.
Post-op adjustments reduced since digital. Production increased by 50%. And the biggest, where we've seen it the most, is in the immediate dentures done with intraoral scanning. And like I said, the lady I saw today, she had 11 teeth extracted and an immediate digital denture put in, milled. She came back with one sore spot.
Is that right?
Having that many extractions. So we've reduced so many factors, right? The expansion of the stone material and the change in dimensional stability. You're processing your polymerization shrinkage, even if you use IVO base, which we have, right? And because you're taking that mucostatic impression in that position, you're taking all those factors out and you're milling it. So now you have pretty much an exact replica within 99%. And that's where we've really seen these tremendous results, is with immediate dentures and iOS scanning, but also even doing the conventional way. And when we do it with milled, again, any milling machine that's going to mill an STL, it's a milled denture with milled PMMA, you're going to see a far superior fit because you're eliminating the polymerization shrinkage. And Dr. Goodacre, Dr. Baba, and a few others did a study at the Loma Linda University, and you can check that out. It's in the Journal of Prosthodontics, which showed a study on the fits of CAD-CAM versus analog with many other different systems as well. So, and there's a ton of evidence-based science out there, but that's just one that I like to quote.
That's fantastic. Eric, you've given us so much great information today. I can't thank you enough for joining us. Is there anything else that obviously I want you to throw us out some links and how our folks can reach you and get involved with the Denture Center on an educational level. But is there anything you want to cover before we let you get back to your busy day?
Yeah, no, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Tyler, for this tremendous opportunity. And I just love talking teeth, as I call it. And really, for those out there listening, just try it. Just do 1 or 2 or 3. Just get yourself into that. Just remember what it was like the first time you sent a text, the first time you sent an email.
I
right?
remember the first time you sent a text.
Yeah, right? How long ago was that? I think hitting the 3 buttons on the number,
yeah.
The alphabetic text.
I had my flip phone and I was like, hi. Oh, hold on. Hello. Oh, man, this is going to take me a long time. Hi. I'm going to stick with hi.
FaceTime, right? All these things, you were never an expert and it never worked right from the beginning. But still, when it worked, you were happy, right? That it worked. Digital dentures has far superseded that it's worked. I mean, we've been doing it for over 6 years.
Yeah, it's clearly working.
First patent was filed by 3Shape 10 years ago in 2010. So for those out there listening, go do a case. If you're interested in working with us, the digital denture adventure, just go on our website, which is the Dentures Consider .ca, or go to learn.thedenturecenter, or get on me LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram, all over social media. Just shoot me a message. I check all my own. I don't have somebody doing it.
Hard not to find you.
Yeah, so that's really the advice out there is go do one. If you want to work with us, great. We'd love to. If there's a local lab that you got near you, but you gotta do this now. The future is now. And the question is really, I think we should close with this: is it is you versus you every day in everything that you do. The only person that you have to go back and blame and self-reflect on is yourself. And I think that's far too often. We're so easy to blame everybody else. And you even look at diet or nutrition. I lost 35 pounds in 5 weeks on this diet that I'm doing. And had I cheated, well, then that's my fault. It's not, a dietitian made you eat this. Or exercise. What better program? These guys that are professional bodybuilders or Olympians, for instance, right? You got to have a good coach. But if you don't train 110% every day, that's your fault.
Yeah, your coach isn't going to take the fat off you or build the muscle. You're the one that's got to do it.
So you out there listening, know that it's you versus you in dentistry. Be the best version of yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Be your own best critic. And you're going to decide how you're going to get into this digital technology. But the time is now. So again, Tyler, I just want to say thank you. And for those of you that are out there that want to learn more, go to learn.thedenturecenter.ca, watch the free webinars, watch my webinar with Dr. McGill Stanley that we did during COVID, talking about slow dentistry, biological dentistry. It is an amazing 1-hour webinar when you watch Dr. Stanley really talk about his movement. Slow Dentistry Network globally has grown over 500% since COVID. We were the first denture clinic to be part of the Slow Dentistry Network. But definitely go out there and check that out. And yeah, if you're doing digital dentures now or you want to get into it, go to learn.thedenturecenter.ca. And we'd be more than happy to just get you on the denture adventure and change your life, because this technology changes not only your own life, your patients' lives, your team's lives, people working in a cleaner environment with less inefficiencies. And it's amazing the workplace culture that you're going to get out of that as well. So people adapt to it. It's just amazing. That's it.
I've seen it.
You versus you.
I've seen it. And you're going to be looking forward to Mondays coming in, going, you know what, we got something cool new that we're doing. And we're following your footsteps. So Eric, thank you so much for being on the show with us on the podcast. It's Tyler McLennan, Dentist on Demand, with Eric D. Kukuchka from the Dentures Consider in Windsor, Ontario. Some great information here. We're going to stick some links in the bio, in the caption below. So I'm going to let you get back to your day. Thank you again, Eric.
Thanks, Tyler. Really
we're gonna have you. I'm hoping to have you on again. We'll have you on again soon.
Look forward to it. I'm going to take a picture of you and I for the social, and let me actually get a little selfie action going.
Love it.
There we go.
I give you 2 thumbs up this time.
Yep. Let's go. The thumbs up. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, we'll post that and we'll share. Text Nina the exact where what to tag you on LinkedIn and social media.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll make sure she has everything. So
cool.
Fantastic, man. Well, I'll let you back to your day, and thank you again.
Appreciate it, man. Loved it. We'll do it again.
Some great pearls there. All right, enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Tyler, I'll be here.
Okay,
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.